What's going on, guys? Welcome to episode 94 of the My Parents Office podcast. I am your host, Andrew Diaz. I am joined today by our usual Thursday co host, Tom Cherubin, via Zoom. Before we get into, so today we've got NBA Finals game 2 coming up tonight. We're taping this on a Wednesday, so talking like it's a Thursday. Tuesday, Suns won, so we'll talk about that. Euro League, Connor, and we've got our top 5 just favorite athletes of all time, not our guys that we think are the best athletes, not guys that were really great athletes, maybe just guys that we really liked in our youth or still like now. But before that, social media at My Parents Office on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook page, My Parents Office podcast, Substack articles from the office. But before we get into the draft, did want to cover a little NIL stuff on my end. This past week, it's been crazy. The NIL bill gets passed. College athletes can make money off of their likeness. So tomorrow, or today when you're hearing this on the Thursday, I'm making a trip down to Feltman's Coney Island Hot Dogs, the headquarters down there. I think it's me and I think Logan Tanner, the only two athletes they've even sponsored now. They're looking to grab a couple more guys to hop on board, but I'm excited about going down there. I really don't know what it's going to be, but it's an exciting thing that, especially because the NIL bill was made for mainly Division I athletes, like you'll hear with Trent Hilger, who's going to be on the second half of the podcast, the Wisconsin heavyweight All-American. We talked about that at the beginning of our interview last week. So it was really made for Division I guys. So seeing Division III guys kind of cash in on it is pretty cool. Got signed as a Barstool athlete too. That's another thing I don't really know what it means. If I can get a couple free t-shirts out of it and for Dave Portnoy or like Big Cat to follow me, I'll honestly just be pretty happy with that. And that's the same for Feltman's. If I can get a couple t-shirts and some free hot dogs, I'll be pretty fired up about it. But I just want to kind of touch base on that. You'll be seeing it on social media Thursday when you're listening to this. So I wanted to talk about that. But Tom, what's going on?
I'm just chilling. Big old chilling. But back on your sponsorship, I've been seeing like on Twitter when you posted on like Barstool. That was a crazy post. Like that got reposted, all of that stuff. I was like, holy shit, you're making it. People commenting. That was a pretty sick post when you got that.
I didn't expect it. Was weird. So we were in the car. We had to go to a wake of a real distant family member, and I tweet at Portnoy. We're driving down to Weathersfield, and in the car, it starts to blow up. Like he retweets it, it starts to blow up. And then I'm in there and my Apple Watch is just going fucking crazy. I'm like, this is the most social media buzz I've ever gotten. And that's when Feltman's jumped in. They tweet at me. They're like, DM us if you want some free hot dogs. So I DM them. They tweet out that I'm a Feltman's athlete now. So I thought that was cool. And then even like some other Nick Mangold, one of the best Jets players of all time, tweets at me. He played center, so he tweeted at me, which I thought was pretty fucking nuts. That's not something you really expect. So yeah, overall, it was a whirlwind of 2 days with getting the Portnoy bump. So I didn't realize how effective that Portnoy bump was, but I went up to like 150 Twitter followers, which I thought was also pretty cool. The podcast even gained some Twitter followers. So, it's an exciting thing.
I mean, just seeing that, like overall, like you said, it like the Division III athletes, I don't really expect too many like sponsorships, but like get the bag if you can, and you capitalize on an opportunity, and it blew up. So there you go. You're gonna who knows how the hot dog thing's gonna go with you, and who knows where else it goes. You could end up on like their Twitter. You might take a picture of them. Who knows? That's really sick.
Yeah, and then friend of the program, Kyle Menaker, he got a deal with Canadips, the cannabis and CBD chew. So he's going to be working with them. He'll probably get a bunch of free product from that. So overall, it's a cool thing seeing all the different companies people are signing with. I saw one guy reach out to like Trojan to get free condoms and free t-shirts, which I thought was hilarious. So it's all about just finding a brand that people aren't like getting sponsored by and just kind of finding your lane and just build it. It's like just one big networking thing. So, but with that being said, I kind of want to hop into this draft. It's one I thought of today because like I said, I want to do a Thursday draft with Tom. Like past few have been music. I think today I was gonna try to go something along the lines of NBA, but I figured let's just do because you're a soccer guy. You've got so I want to kind of hear what your 5 favorite athletes, and this can be growing up, currently, just 5 guys that like you own the jersey of, or you'd want the jersey of guys you've supported maybe throughout college, throughout when they were in like minor leagues, and now they're in the pros, something like that. So I'll give you the first overall pick in this draft, and I want to see where you go with it.
All right. Well, growing up, there was a lot of soccer, not too much like NBA, NFL. Like I didn't like for me to watch all that. It was like like I like probably once I got to high school, like junior year, I was like, all right, let me start branching out. So
Yeah.
a lot of my like personal heroes are all gonna be a lot of soccer, just like different areas. That's not really just like kind of like American sports in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But my first pick is going to be a soccer player. His name is Robert Lewandowski. He's a
Nice.
striker from Poland. Um, just him overall, he for like Poland, because like in sports, really, Poland's not like too known. I could
Mhm.
say we have a really good volleyball team. Soccer's subpar, but like Robert Lewandowski, he just carries it, and like that's what gives us a name. So it's always cool like to see like that representation and seeing like actual like talks of like this one of the best strikers in the world. Like he's known for like his goal scoring, all that stuff. He's scored like I think it was like 5 goals in one game in like 30 minutes, which is pretty
Jesus.
nuts. Because like when you watch a soccer game, you really like it might be 1 or 2 goals, it might be zero
Yeah.
goals, but like to score 5 on his own, like that was pretty nuts to watch. But yeah, number one overall pick goes to him just for all the stuff I've seen like him growing up with.
It's a solid pick. I like that one. My first pick, I'm gonna go NFL. I'm gonna go honestly with the first jersey I owned. Well, I got 2 of them the same day. It was a Brady jersey, a Brady Patriots jersey. I believe when I was in maybe 5th grade, I think I got them 5th or 6th grade. I got a Brady Pats jersey, the navy blue, and then I got my favorite all-time player, Adrian Peterson, a purple AP jersey. And that's pretty much what turned me into a Vikings fan, was getting that and just kind of following his career. And then unfortunately, he leaves. He goes to New Orleans, Arizona, Washington, Detroit. I think eventually he'll sign back on like a one-day deal with the Vikings, but he's my just all-time favorite player. It's a guy like I root for when he was rooted for when he was with other teams. And he kind of built my love for the Vikings, which is, I mean, it's hurt me overall. It's hurt me more than it's made me happy, being a fan of the Vikings.
There's
So
that's not.
but I do appreciate what he's done for the game. He's probably a top 3 running back all time. So AP Adrian Peterson all day. That's my number 1 pick. Passing it back over to you, Tom.
I would say now my next 4 are not going to be in any particular order. I'll tell you that. So my number one, that's my number one. But like my next 4 is going to be like they could mix. So my second one is the first jersey I ever got from a player. His name's Lukas Podolski. He's pretty like old in soccer right now. I think he's like in his 40s. So I
Yeah.
think he's playing for like some Turkish team or whatever. But he was the first person I like really kind of watched. So I can remember when I first started watching soccer. Remember the Yes Network, the Yankees channel?
Yes.
So for a period of time, whoever owned the Yankees also owned the team that I support, Arsenal. So
Oh,
like
okay.
they would play like rerun games, like the same way how the Red Sox like own like part of like Liverpool. If you didn't know
Yeah, that
that.
Fenway Sports Group where it's like Werner, Kennedy, and LeBron's in that too.
Yep. So basically the same thing, but like I remember just like flipping through channels one day, and I was like the first thing that I saw was like a rerun of a soccer game, and I was just watching him kind of like go crazy, just like another striker too. He's from Germany, and just seeing him play, like that was like the first jersey I got. I remember it was a bright yellow jersey with some
Mhm.
blue lettering. I remember myself like getting like the numbers like completely like torn off by just like wear and tear over time. So he has a special place in my heart for that number 2.
I like that pick. That it's one that kind of goes back for you. So I'm actually gonna do the same. Go back to my favorite. I'm a diehard UConn Huskies fan, basketball. So through and through, even though I mean for them it's been mostly good years. So I'm gonna go Kemba Walker. He's and it's unfortunate seeing him leave Boston because he didn't play well. That was definitely a tough thing to see because he's probably my favorite overall NBA player. And he's my favorite all-time college basketball player because he's got the step back versus Pitt in the Big East tournament. He led them to a title. It just everything he did for that UConn program, along with pretty much just getting the shit kicked out of him in Charlotte for like 6 or 7 years on the Bobcats and the Hornets was tough to watch. Then when he came to Boston, like I said, I was excited. I was fired up. I thought he was going to be a good locker room guy. I think he was, but just didn't play well. But I mean, Kemba was that guy. Like he was so known around the Connecticut area. That was a household name. So Kemba Walker's going to be my number 2, like my solid number 2 for this.
Yes, my number 3, I'll give it to big boy Tom Brady, TB12. Growing up, like obviously New England, I'm going to support New England team. Just how it kind of was because I didn't really know. And I was like, oh, New England Patriots, cool. That's the team I'm supporting. But like, there's nothing really else to say about Tom Brady. Like, he's just going to go down as a GOAT.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Everybody, if you don't know Tom Brady at this point, and I don't know, go just seeing what he was able to do and all of that was just crazy. And then when I was in Boston for a bit, I was low-key heated that his TB12 sports store was like down the street from, I used to work at Under Armour in the Prudential Center.
Yeah.
And he would go, like, I remember like he'd post like stuff on his IG story of like him leaving that TB12 sports store. I'm like, he's never been in that Under Armour store, and you're an Under Armour athlete. Like, he's never been in that store. So I was talking to all the people, yep, never been in there. It was like a whole ass shrine for him. I was like, all right, come on now. Just pop
You're
in.
hoping one day you just run into him at some point, just like praying.
I met his sister. That was the biggest thing I could tell you. I remember I was helping out this person, like buying a jacket. She's like, oh, can you put this on hold for me? And I'm like, yeah, what's the name? She's like, Maureen Brady or something like that. I'm like, can't just say that without, you can't just say Brady in Boston. I was like, want to explain yourself? Like, she's like, yeah, I'm his sister. We'll be here tomorrow. And then I was like, pause, we'll be here tomorrow. And then like, I was like, okay, that can mean anything. That can mean your family, Tom Brady's coming. So I remember that day, I created like a little bit of buzz around the work area. Then I remember the next day they were like, if he comes in, you gotta treat him like a regular customer. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Fuck that. I would go nuts.
Like a regular ass customer. That's like a one in a lifetime opportunity to meet Tom Brady. So I was like, but it never happened, of course. I was like, if it happens, I'm getting a picture. I don't care if I get fired. That's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Even as like I'm not a Patriots fan, but even in that scenario, like Brady's the greatest football player of all time. You can't just not get a picture with him.
Yeah. So that's my solid number 3 pick right there.
My number 3, big Notre Dame football fan. My dad introduced it to me. One of the first players I really watched when I was getting into Notre Dame football was linebacker Manti Te'o. Everybody knows the name Manti Te'o from his fake girlfriend that he had in college, which was definitely a brutal thing to watch because I tried to, like, even to this day, I'll defend him tooth and nail. I'll go to the mat for Manti Te'o about that. But that was brutal to watch. But I mean, he's one of the greatest college linebackers of all time. Was a Heisman finalist. Got walloped in the BCS championship against Alabama, which was brutal to watch. But I mean, he hasn't had a great NFL career. Been with the Chargers and the Saints. Bounced around a little bit, but he was really the guy that kind of sparked my real interest in Notre Dame football. So I mean, he falls under that AP and kind of Kemba category, where if it weren't for these guys being as good as they are, I don't think I'd be as diehard a fan as I would be today of these certain teams. And then because I'm a huge Ian Book guy, huge Everett Goldson, so guys that came after him. So I mean, without Manti Te'o, I don't think I'm that big a Notre Dame football fan. So he's gonna be my number 3 pick.
Solid. My number 4 pick, I'm giving it to Jason Tatum. Now I'm giving it to him just because when I first started really getting into basketball and like started watching the Celtics a lot more, it was Jason Tatum was that guy who's like just starting to come up on the team. So I was like, all right, we'll give him a chance. And just seeing like him grow these past couple of years, like being that guy in Boston right now and seeing what he can do for like the future.
It's awesome.
It's really nice to see that, like, I don't think he's leaving anytime soon unless who knows what goes on this next season.
Yeah.
I don't think he's leaving anytime soon. I think he's going to be one of like the all-time great Boston Celtics players. Like he's going to be up there for sure.
I
And
agree
hopefully we
with
get a
that.
title. That's the one thing. Hopefully we bring a title home. That's all we need. I need Taco Fall to pick up his shit and start going, start moving. I don't know, do something. I have an interesting story about Taco Fall. He was on UMass Boston's campus one time,
Yeah,
and I was like walking to our gym, and I see this tall ass dude. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy just
yeah,
walking around? And I get like close. I'm like, holy shit, it's Taco Fall. And I asked for a picture, and his manager told me no. And I'm like, come
that
on.
sucks.
I was pissed off. I was like, when am I going to see Taco Fall again first? And why can't I just take a picture? Going to take 2 seconds. I
Right.
was pissed. But I took like a video when he was like walking away. I was like, holy shit, it's Taco Fall. I was like, stupid. But anyways, Jason Tatum, he's my number 4 pick right there.
Tatum at the 4. So my number 4, I'm gonna go golf. I'm gonna go into the world of golf. I'm gonna take Tony Finau is gonna be my guy for this. Just because he another one. I was at the Travelers Championship. I think when I was like going into my sophomore year of high school, and practice round. You try to get pictures with as many guys as possible. And Finau is one of those guys. I get a picture with him, and from that day, I kind of followed the guys that I got the pictures with, like Jim Furyk. And that was the year Furyk shoots a 59 at the tournament. VJ Singh was one of those guys, Zach Johnson. And like I followed Finau kind of really closely from that day. And from there on, he's kind of made me a little more interested in golf. Like Tiger, watching him's always entertaining. But Tiger wasn't really the guy that got me to follow it a little bit more. It was guys like VJ Singh and Tony Finau. But Finau's a legit golfer now. I mean, he's a stud. So, I mean, that's going to land him as my number 4. He just seems like an awesome dude. And he won like the golf version of kind of like what the Bachelorette and Bachelor are of golf is, where it's like a competition, but it turns you like if you win that competition, you become a stud. It's like Ink Master for golf.
Gotcha.
He's going to be my number 4. Just because he seems like a great dude, and I love watching him play. It's fun to watch him golf.
Solid pick.
Final pick right here. 5th and final pick.
So it's going to be a little interesting. I'm going into powerlifting. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to diverse myself over there. Yeah, anybody can question if sport or not. I really don't care. That's why I'm calling it.
Yeah.
But it's going to be Russell Orhii or Russ Swole. I've been watching him, I'd say for like 5 years now. And he's really like sparked a lot of like my interest in lifting and in powerlifting. And he's a 4-time champ right now, 4-time Raw national champ. He's gonna be considered like in powerlifting, he's gonna be considered one of the goats to go down for sure. Mm-hmm. And just seeing like him lift, like I think he like pulled like in his last meet like 700 something pounds, squatted 700 something pounds, and he weighs like 187. Yeah, he's like 5'5", yeah, but he's like 187 jacked. And he's just amazing to see, like his growth and like with his brands, all that stuff is just really inspiring to see. So I'll give him my number 5 pick.
I like that pick. That's a out of the box one. I do like that one. So number 5, I'm between 2 guys. I'm gonna go with Kyle Snyder, Olympic wrestler Kyle Snyder, but when I became a fan of him was when he was at Ohio State. And because that was around the same time I got into wrestling late. Like I wrestled in high school for 3 years, got injured senior year, but I followed it pretty much real closely, like my end of sophomore going into junior year. And Snyder was just so dominant, so good. Like you'd be at practice and you joke around, try to do moves like Kyle Snyder, try to go low ankle like Kyle Snyder, do all the things that he was doing. And then when somebody would get a pair of Snyder wrestling shoes, everyone would be like, oh my God, those are awesome. So it was kind of, it was like a folk legend type of guy where everybody knows the name. And he was really the one guy that kind of got me into wrestling where I'm like, oh my God, this guy is just so dominant. And I followed his Olympic career, and it's just so impressive what he's been doing. The other guy was like a cliche one if you're from Boston or from the New England area and you're a Boston fan, it's Ortiz, because he's got the most famous, I think, for him is the home run against the Tigers in the ALCS bases, the Grand Slam, where he hits it right into the bullpen. the cop's arms go up, and I think it's Torrey Hunter goes flying, like he flips over the bullpen wall. So I mean, that if I had to go 5A, 5B, but I'll throw Ortiz into my honorable mention category. But yeah, Snyder's gonna round out my top 5 right there. Do you have any guys that just missed the cut?
Conor McGregor.
Okay.
I'm only missing the cut for a bit just because I started following late, but he's very inspirational just to hear his story, like the come up and all that. So he's going to be an honorable mention. Give Gronk an honorable mention too.
Yeah.
He just amazing at what he does. Trying to think anybody else. Nobody else like on the top of my head right now that like I consistently watch.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give those two my honorable mentions.
My other ones I'd have to say would be I'm a big like when it comes to pro sports. If there's a Connecticut guy, I'm gonna root for him. So I'd throw like Andre Drummond. He's from Middletown. He's a Connecticut guy. Played at UConn too. So that's another one. And then my Dwight Freeney played at Bloomfield High, played at Syracuse, and is probably one of a top 15 pass rusher in the NFL all time. If he's not already in the Hall of Fame, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, played with the Colts, Seahawks, Chargers, bounced around between a few other teams, but he's a Connecticut guy. It's hard to root against a guy like that. So those will probably Ortiz, Drummond, and Freeney will round out my honorable mention. But you bring up McGregor Poirier fighting this weekend. How are you feeling about it? What are your thoughts?
No, I want McGregor win. That's what I want.
Yeah,
it's that round off the trilogy. From what McGregor's been posting on social media, he seems like he's ready. He seems like he's very content on his fighting. It's just going to come down to execution. Like the last fight when he got knocked out, there was a couple times where it looked like McGregor could have won, but it was just Poirier's leg kicks, all that. Like McGregor's legs were shot by the end of that. Like he was walking on crutches. I think if you like look at the post interview stuff and like all that, he was walking on crutches. So I want a McGregor knockout. That's how I want it. I don't want it to be a first round knockout though. I want at least like 3.
You want some action.
I want something that like I'm looking forward to watch because that's probably gonna be what at 12 o'clock was when that fight's gonna actually start.
Yep.
All the undercards. The undercards. I know there's some good ones. I just forget the names, but I know there's gonna be some good undercards as well in there. So yeah, I would love a McGregor win. If a McGregor win happens, then it definitely puts him because I think he's got either 1 or 2 more fights left on his contract for the year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see him at least one more time, either if it's a win or lose situation. But seeing like, does he get a shot soon for a title again? That's going to be a question. So I've had that question like talk back and forth a lot. It's just if he wins this fight against Poirier and then he goes on to win like one more fight this year, then I could say maybe a title shot happens. But on the other side, I think I talked about this before. If McGregor loses, he's going to finish off a trilogy with Nate Diaz is the assumption and probably call it. Because there's like nothing else he's got to really prove. He's got a boatload of money. He's going to go down as one of the all-time greats. But it really just depends on the outcome this Saturday.
So I'm looking at the odds right now on Vegas Insider. As of today, July 7th, McGregor's listed as the underdog at +110. Poirier is at -130. I mean, that's kind of been the consistent theme. They both opened at minus. And then actually on July 4th, it changed to McGregor being the underdog. 7-5 was the underdog. And then today, 7-7 he's still listed as the underdog. And Poirier's odds have gone from 120 to -130. So, I mean, I still like McGregor in this. I haven't watched the other fights. I mean, McGregor's fun to watch. It's an entertaining guy to watch fight. So I do hope he wins, and I hope he sticks around for a couple more fights to just keep giving the fans kind of what they want. And like I said, he's entertaining. He's a showman.
Oh, yeah. Give me some of that proper 12. I need to go find that.
Yup.
That's going to be an essential I took the whole day off Saturday. I made sure of that. Like I was like, I took like holiday time off for Saturday. I was like, I know I need to watch this fight, but I also want to get paid. So perfect opportunity just to spend a whole day getting ready for that fight.
So how do you prepare for it? Are you going to like wake up, go to the gym, take a nap,
That's probably what's gonna happen. Wake up, go to the gym, make sure I get all that done and settled. And I say starting probably like 3 o'clock. Well, I know the place that I sell proper 12, so I'll get that easily. So I'll hopefully get that soon because I don't know if I go shopping like Friday, like
Could
it's
be
all
sold
sold
out.
out somewhere. So we'll get that probably starting like 3 o'clock. We'll start tasting it, see how it goes. Try to save as much as we can. I'm talking to one of my friends. We're trying to go halves on a bottle. But I'm like, there's no way you and me are gonna finish halves on a bottle. So
No.
that'd be OD. Supposed to have to work the next day too. So I'm like, not a good idea. We'll just see how the night goes.
Yeah.
But it's just like getting that hype going. We'll get the food going in the system. Still trying to figure out like the last details of like where, because like we have a couple places where we could watch the fight. We're just trying to figure out that last like detail of like where's the best atmosphere going to be, what's even open on Saturday night that late.
Yeah.
Now, if COVID restrictions obviously up, probably a lot of places, but still got time to figure out.
In high school, I would always kind of like screw myself over because when it came to either like college football or big fights like that, it was usually always during the fall when a lot of these occurred. So I would come home and it was always Saturdays. So I'd come home from like football in the morning and I'd just be running around doing stuff all day. 8 o'clock rolls around. I'm like on the couch. I'm ready to just pass out. I mean, I slept through the McGregor Mayweather fight. I like literally slept through all the prelims, woke up like 10 minutes before the fight, and then fell back to sleep for the fight, and then woke up right after. So if I am watching this fight, then I'm gonna make sure I take like a nap right before, because if I don't, then I'm screwed. Like I'll be snoozing at like 9 o'clock.
Wait, who you said you got McGregor winning this Saturday, or you got Poirier winning this Saturday?
I got McGregor winning. I mean, pretty good odds too if you throw money down on McGregor. But I mean, like I said, I haven't watched enough of it to know how it's gonna go. I've watched more Connor fight more than I've seen Poirier fight. So I'm just gonna go with Connor. Like you said, I hope it's a knockout, but I hope it goes 3 rounds, 4 rounds. That would be awesome. So that's where I stand. I'll take McGregor in a 4th round knockout.
Solid. That's a solid, like, actually. I can see that happening. A 4th round knockout, yeah.
And then if Poirier wins, I think it goes the distance. I don't think Poirier is going to knock him out, but
there's a chance. There's a chance because he got
yeah.
knocked out last time. It all depends on whoever wins like the first like 2 rounds. It all depends kind of there, like who's looking gassed, who's looking hurt. There's so many things that we could talk about that could like fix the situation. So it all just really depends on the day and who's feeling it.
Yep. So last night we mentioned we're gonna talk finals. Last night, Phoenix wins. Phoenix wins pretty convincingly in game one, which I think if you're Milwaukee is super concerning. And I mean, I didn't watch the game really until the end. And I was getting alerts all while I was at the gym saying like Giannis with a nasty chase down block. Giannis dunks on Ayton. So I'm assuming like, oh my God, Milwaukee must actually be putting it on them. And then I get home, fourth quarter's going, and Phoenix is up, and Phoenix ends up winning 118-105. I mean, it's that's a convincing win too. That's not like they're winning by 5 or 6. They beat them by 10 plus. So if you're Milwaukee, you kind of got to be scared now. You got to wonder who's going to step up. Is it going to be Lopez have a crazy good game? Is it going to be Middleton to help Giannis out? Bobby Portis, maybe? You honestly just got to hope somebody's going to step up.
I was actually pretty surprised that Giannis was actually playing yesterday, just because like that injury that just happened and that looked like it could be a threatening one, but I guess it didn't turn out that way. Yeah. I was like really surprised when I got that notification said, "Oh, Giannis is in a starting lineup." I'm like, all right. Hopefully he doesn't like re-injure himself, all that. But the Bucks were starting to close down, like they're starting to close down that lead a bit. I'm telling you, not gonna lie, the Suns look like they kind of let up a bit, so they need to watch out for that because the Bucks can definitely bring the lead back up or get at least tie a game. They could definitely do that. Mm-hmm. So they gotta be careful of that. At the end of the day, I see it being going to game 6. I'm saying Suns are gonna win 4-2.
I got Phoenix in 5. I think they get a 3-0 lead. Milwaukee pulls off a game. But I just think overall, Phoenix is just overall. I mean, last night they showed how good they are, how good their matchups were. So, I mean, I really, really like how good Phoenix looks. Booker, what Monty Williams has done too as a coach has just been unreal. When you've got him and Chris Paul who have played slash coach together, they've been a duo before, in New Orleans. So I mean, that rapport is huge. Come down the stretch, and I mean, Chris Paul just looks unfazed. Like it doesn't look like this is his first time playing in an NBA championship game, and he's just so mature and just such a good facilitator for the young guys like Booker and Ayton. I think it's too much for the Bucks.
Yeah.
So like I said, I got Bucks and Jesus, not Bucks, Suns in 5.
I just think, because the Suns are home right now, they're definitely win this. I would hope they win this next game. If they're able to take one away, if they're able to take one, at least one,
Yeah,
like so they can at least make the series at least 3-1. Then it's a good chance. But say the Bucks win both those games, it's like, all right, it's definitely going to Game 7. There's no question.
If the Bucks take it home, if the Bucks sweep at home the first in those 2 games and make it 2-2, then I have Bucks, and I think at that point I have Phoenix in 7. I think any way you slice it, I have Phoenix winning the series. But I mean, if they go Game 7, that's tough because you just got to hope Chris Paul, Booker, and Ayton all show up, and you got to hope Giannis gets no help from Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, or Bobby Portis. You just got to pray all 3 of those guys shit the bed like they haven't really given him help this pretty much the majority of the playoffs, other than a few sporadic games from guys like that.
But it's going to be a fun one to watch, a fun series. Not like it can still go either way. That's the one thing. I don't think yes, we're heavily rooting for Phoenix, but I can still think it can still go either way. There's not one team I can say that can easily sweep it. It's not like you have if it was a Nets v I don't know, at the Nets v Celtics again. If it was that in the finals, that's there's a clear winner.
Yeah,
but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the rest of the series plays out. Just good to have NBA Finals. That's all that really matters. People are saying oh, does it really count this year just because of all the injuries, all that shit? And I'm like, don't. Why are you questioning it? Of course,
if anything, I'd say did the bubble count versus this? Not a lot of people. I mean, you got some people question the bubble a little bit, but for people to question this season, I think that's outrageous. I mean, injuries happen. That's a part of the game. That's a part of any sport. So for people to question the legitimacy of this title, I think is outrageous. This title 100% counts whether Milwaukee or Phoenix wins it.
People it was a quick turnaround between the 2 seasons. I'm like, how does that? This is your career. At the end of the day, this is your job. Yeah. Yes, you also need rest. You need to do all the proper shit. But I just didn't like when I saw players saying oh, it's quick turnaround. Yes, it was a quick turnaround. You have a shortened off season, all that, but this is your work. You're not going into office. You're living a lavish life of playing a sport.
Yeah.
That you work. I mean, you have to work hard for it. There's that too. You have to work very hard to be at the top of your game. But at the end of the day, you're not going into a 9-to-5 office job every single day, all that type of stuff. You're going in, training, trying to get yourself better. That's pretty much all you do with your life.
Your job is to work out and be good at basketball. You don't have much else to do outside of that.
Yeah, there's sponsorships, all that. Yes, that comes with it. But at the end of the day, this is your career. And if you want to be the best at it, you got to prove it. And if you say it a short and off season and then it didn't help at all, then it just kind of shows that you weren't ready for it, in my opinion.
All right. So we made our finals predictions. To wrap this segment up, little EuroLeague. Like I said before when we were talking, I haven't followed it as much. My dad's been following it a bunch. He's been having it on all the time. So I want to get your analysis on EuroLeague. You said finals are this coming Sunday. So what are your thoughts on it?
It's going to be England v Italy. That's going to be the final. Now, I can't say there's a clear winner just because today was actually the game. It was England v Denmark. That's what was the last semifinal game because yesterday was Italy v Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So today, it was a controversial call. I can tell you that because it was a penalty in at overtime or extra time. And referees are able to see, they have VAR, so video assisted referee. So they can obviously just go look back and be okay, was it a penalty? And there was a lot of people in the world saying like that's not a penalty is like a pretty big flop, which is pretty known in like the soccer world, like flopping. Everybody knows
Yeah.
soccer players do that. Like they overdo like a tap on the shoulder. That I know that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just sad to see like that's how it kind of won the game, but it is what it is. They still won the game. So I can't really call who's gonna win just because they both have their strengths. Like England's a very good attacking squad overall. Their defense is kind of lackluster, I can tell you that. While Italy is a very good defense, got some good attack, but like sometimes they're not like playing as a team, but they can really show up really well. But also the final is going to be in England in Wembley Stadium, so that gives England a huge advantage. Just because, like I say, like at least 75% of that crowd is going to be England supporters. The rest, Italy. So that's just like the one big advantage they have. So I don't really see who can really be a clear winner. I'm going for Italy just because Italy lost to Spain. I would say like I forget what year it was, like the 2010 Euros or something like that. They lost to Spain. I remember that. So it's going to be good redemption for them. And then there's also one more cup going on too. I can tell you that. It's a South American Cup. It's called like the Copa America. So in like soccer world, there's like the Euro Cup's only all European teams. That's why you don't see anything like that. So the Copa America is like all kind of like America, South America. And that's actually going to be Argentina versus Brazil, which is going to be a fantastic game because you see Messi hopefully finally get – because he has – everybody knows like Lionel Messi. One, he's going to go down one of the GOATs of all time. But he doesn't have a trophy with Argentina. That's the one thing that's always been not there for him.
That's like the one knock on him.
Been many finals with him, like World Cup finals, all this like Copa America finals. He's never had an international trophy. And he, like the Argentina team is looking very strong. But there's also Brazil too. I don't know how much you know about Brazil, but like they've always been like a top like soccer like nation.
They're a powerhouse nation for soccer, yeah.
I don't know if you know like Neymar. He's like the Brazilian guy. He's really quick. That's like their top player. And Neymar, Messi used to play back in the day in Barcelona, so it's going to be a really fun game to watch. I forget when that is too. I think it might be Sunday or it might be the day after. Forget, but that's also another big game to look at. And we got, I think, World Cup starts next year, so that's going to be a fun one again. But it's going to be an interesting year just because it's going to be in like November of next year because it's going to be held in Qatar, I'm pretty sure. So like it's like hot as shit there. Yeah. They have to hold it in November so like nobody passes out. But the World Cup's usually like in the summer, and like it's weird right now just because it's usually every 2 years there's like a different cup. So like every 2 years, like it's a Euro Cup, and then like 2 years that's the World Cup. But COVID has been iffy on that. So a lot of good soccer action. Almost ended the season. Almost started a new season back in August. So looking forward to seeing more.
All right, I got Brazil 1-0, and I got Italy 2-1. Those are my picks right there. I haven't watched a lick of soccer this year, but those are my two picks right there. Gut feeling. You said Italy looks good. I'm going to bet against Messi on this. So those are my two right there. Or no, I'll give it – I'll say 2-1 for both. I'll say 2-1 for both. I think Messi will score a goal for Argentina just because of how nasty he is. I think Neymar scores 2 for Brazil. Italy and England, I don't know any players on either team, but 2-1 Italy there. So, yeah, I like my picks there. Both are probably going to be wrong in some capacity, but give me your just final score, final picks right now. Pull it out of a hat. No, just what you think, gut feeling, what tells you that right now?
I'm giving it's going Italy, England's going all the way to penalty kicks. Italy is winning the penalty kicks. I can tell you that's probably like a 1-1 throughout the whole entire game. They're going to penalties. Italy's winning on penalties 4-3 is my guess.
Okay.
And Argentina's winning 1-0. Messi scores a goal. That's how it's going to be.
All right. Next week we'll talk about our picks and see how we did. But thank you for tuning into this segment. Up next, we've got the interview with Wisconsin heavyweight All-American wrestler Trent Hilger. Thanks, guys.